The Spider-Man vs. Ock Subway Train Scene is the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man set since 2004. Today, I want to tell you why this is a great display set, but sucks as a playset by looking at the minifigures, the build, and weigh in on the price as well. Welcome to the Brick Collectibles Show. Tell me what other Sam Raimi Spider-Man sets you'd want to see from LEGO, and let's get into it. LEGO's Spider-Man theme predates the actual Marvel line by almost a decade, and their very first Spider-Man sets are actually even older. Since the cancellation of the theme though, we have been waiting for 21 years, until 2025, to get any more sets based on Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, which returned with the Spider-Man vs. Ock Subway Train Scene. Now, we have obviously gotten Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in the Spider-Man Final Battle from 2023, based on No Way Home, but this is the first set to return to those original 2-decade-old movies. Yet, this comeback doesn't come cheap, as the Spider-Man vs. Ock Subway Train Scene will set you back a good $55. The original adaptation of the set, released in 2004, only cost $30, so we're seeing a significant jump here. But in all fairness, we also see a jump in the piece count here, with the set featuring 393 pieces, an almost exact increase of 100 pieces from its predecessor. Whether that, let's call it improvement, has paid off is something you'll know by the end of the video, but the minifigure selection stayed almost the same, only switching out 2004's Train Conductor for Aunt May. Now, Tobey's Spider-Man minifig is almost the exact same as in the Spider-Man Final Battle, bar the tears in his costume. It is just lovely to see a version of this figure appear in the big 2025, even though I do have one complaint. In my opinion, the silver lining should have been a bit more vibrant. 2004's version was way brighter and it gave much more of a pop. The dual molded legs though are a clear improvement, and I also just really enjoy how they switched up the 2023 figure to accurately represent his look from the shoot. If you want the regular Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit, it'll appear in next year's epic battle Spider-Man vs. Sandman, which I'll address later on too. Alfred Molina's Doc Ock returns in the set as well. He also previously featured in the Spider-Man Final Battle, and similar to that set, this one also gets his coat color wrong. His outfit isn't as bright green as in the comic, but it's still a damp green, not a matte brown like we see it here. On a positive though, the toe printing is a welcome inclusion here, and the face print is immaculate, simply reused from 2023 Doc Ock. But where it definitely improved is in terms of the arms. These are some of the best tentacles we've ever gotten, both in terms of playability and displayability, so hats off to LEGO. Jonah Jameson is the last character to have also appeared in 2004 Spider-Man's Train Rescue, and this is a definitive step up from the original version. Especially the new hairpiece is great, and I'm happy that LEGO actually decided to use the pieces they have at their disposal. In my opinion though, the face is a downgrade, as I think that original face print wasn't necessarily more accurate, but captured J.K. Simmons' vibes much better, as this one just seems a little too calm. But it's always a pleasure to get a JJJ figure, since this is, by the way, only his 4th figure over the last 20 years. The one new entry to the set is Aunt May. Now, May is a beloved character through all adaptations, but I must admit that this is a rather lame minifig. Firstly, this is because I'd love to have seen an MJ here, given she's gotten 2 figures in the last 2 decades, while this one marks May's 4th one since 2016, and secondly, this figure looks almost exactly like all of its predecessors. MJ or even Harry would have been an awesome inclusion here, and let's be real, this is a $55 set. There's nothing stopping LEGO from chucking those characters in here as well to justify their price a little more, because the build does struggle with that. Now, it is simply amazing to be getting new sets for a 20-year-old movie from LEGO that doesn't fall directly into Star Wars, Harry Potter or Icons. I think we can all agree that this is the most iconic scene from Spider-Man 2, very few others could have been chosen, perhaps the final fight or the creation of Dr. Octopus, but let's not kid ourselves here. This scene isn't simply the most memorable scene from any Spider-Man movie ever. There are still consistently homages and direct references to this very moment sprinkled all throughout pop culture. Think back to Tom Holland's first Spider-Man film and how the ferry scene was framed almost exactly as this one, or just the straight reference to it in Insomniac's Spider-Man game.
That totally worked last time.
But let's not only fawn over the set, because let's face it, the interior fucking sucks. For one, it looks nothing like it does in a movie, which, and this may be controversial, isn't the worst thing ever. Sometimes you have to change something up to adapt it to the LEGO format. Sadly though, that didn't happen here, which is why the interior is so ugly. There's no standing space, the seats are also just on the floor for some reason, and you can absolutely forget recreating any scene from the movie in this interior. This could have been simply fixed by extending the width of this train car, as we're looking at 6 studs in total, meaning the interior only gets to have 4. Speed Champions ran into the same issue years ago and simply increased the width of their cars, which is why I don't understand the thought process behind this build. The weird train driver seats on either side are irritating as well, especially given that they're just out in the open without a separate compartment, but as you have undoubtedly noticed, the interior in general is just all over the place. On the other hand, the exterior is more than decent, majorly improving on 2004's iteration. There's no weird coloration on this one, and it's so funny to me that this set obviously centers on Spidey's and Doc Ock's fight, but in that we've just gotten a really cool build of the New York subway. My one major complaint though are the wheels of the train, as they are way too flimsy. As you can see, even just by picking them up, they rotate around and can't stay in the same place since they're only connected to the train via a 2x2 turntable. I, in general, don't understand why you make the wheels movable if you don't intend to include any train tracks, which is another complaint of mine. For $55, all you get is the train car. Compare that to 2004's version, which also had things like tracks, a mechanism to launch the train, and a network to catch it. Sure, it looked nowhere near as good as this one, but its play features blow this one out of the water. Also, just so you know, I tested it out, and this thing is compatible with LEGO's rail system, which is why they could have easily just included a couple of these to work with the train car. I was gonna say that I bought these specifically for this video, but that would have just been a straight up lie. But as I said in the beginning of the video, this is a mediocre, overpriced playset at best, but it does really well as a display set, and you can make a couple of adjustments to get to that point. As you can see, there are a bunch of action aspects added, and my favorite part personally, as the instructions suggest, is the removal of the turntables on top of the wheels, meaning they're not moving around all the time. With the figures and the webs, as well as debris, there are also a bunch of new points of attention, which add spice to the accurate but fairly boring exterior of the train cars. And it can still roll on the tracks. I should just make a train video at some point. In conclusion, we have an overpriced set here which finds its biggest weakness in its playability. The interior is poor and the wheels are continuously annoying if you don't happen to have a bunch of train tracks lying around. It is a refreshing return to the Sam Raimi trilogy though, featuring some very nice minifigs as well as showcasing a beautiful level of displayability. If you love the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, this is surely a set for you, but if you are on a tighter budget, I'd recommend waiting until 2026 as the epic battle Spider-Man vs. Sandman will be releasing for less than half of the set's insane price while being a pure display set. Now you only know about one of this year's Marvel sets though, which is why you should check out my review of the Only Fantastic Four set on screen right now, but mainly I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, goodbye.